Hello and welcome to the Vaults of Terra. My name is Ed and today we're going to be continuing with our overview videos with a quick look at the Adeptus Arbites. Now, the Adeptus Arbites are the embodiment of the law across the Imperium. They are an arm of the Adeptus Terra and their role is to enforce Imperial law throughout the Imperium. The organisation is represented by arbitrators and judges who have the power to investigate crime across the Imperium and execute its perpetrators with extreme prejudice. Now, the Arbites force has existed since the Great Crusade in one form or another, and was designed to deal with legal breaches that stretched beyond the confines of one world and could affect the whole Imperium. The laws the arbitrators enforce is the Lex Imperialis, which is held within the Book of Judgment, a tome that is the physical manifestation of these laws. Now, the Lex Imperialis is also known as the Dictates Imperialis and is the legal code of the Imperium. Apparently, the words of the Emperor himself, the Lex is a huge compilation of the laws and codes of the Imperium gathered over 10,000 years, and the judges within the Arbites spend their lives studying and compiling this code into the Books of Judgment. The Lex is an absolute law and stands above all the private rules and laws that govern most planets. Now, the original Book of Judgment has been meticulously collected over vast periods, and its content has long ago grown beyond the abilities to be contained within a single book, as it embodies every decree proclaimed by the High Lords of Terra, with the oldest even written on flayed skin in an unknown language. How it is enforced, I don't know, but it is still an embodiment in the Book of Judgment. Almost every day, literally hundreds of new volumes worth of written text is encoded into holoscript and added to the Book of Judgment. Despite the fact that not everyone could read this ridiculous amount of legal code, it is considered all to be the absolute word of the Emperor and thus punishable by harsh conditions if it is breached. Thousands of volumes of books sit on the iron shelves in the Hall of Judgment, and all of which of these make up the Lex Imperialis that the arbitrators must enforce. In practice, arbitrators carry smaller field versions of this book known as the Book of Law, which an officer will read passages from to cower those who have, or would, breach the laws of the Imperium. As mentioned before, the Arbites are a trans-Imperium police force. Every Imperial world has its own government laws and have their own local law enforcement. Now, these laws are actually beneath the notice of most Arbites, who have larger and broader reaching crimes to deal with most of their duties to make sure that the governors of the worlds that they're protecting pay the tithes to the Imperium. Of course, they will deal with all sorts of other legal breaches if it is in line with their current investigation. They are renowned for being dedicated and without mercy. The arbitrators cast a very long shadow throughout the galaxy. They are feared because the law they enforce is very harsh, where even failure can be considered a crime carrying the sentence of death. No one has any rights to oppose a member of the Arbites in their judgment, where they are also the jury and the executioner, and everyone from governors to peasants are equal before this law. Only a highly connected member of the Imperial cult or the Inquisition would be entitled to a trial, and even then, the onus rests squarely on the individual to prove themselves without sin, rather than upon the arbitrator to prove the crime. It is interesting to note the relationship with the Inquisition, for whilst the Inquisition holds the ultimate authority in the Imperium next to the Emperor, even they are subject to the laws within the Lex Imperialis and the eyes of the Arbites, and many a time representatives of these organisations have come to blows over how to pursue and prevent criminal acts within the Imperium, although it should be noted that the Inquisition deals more with matters of Imperial security rather than breaches in its law. Now, the structure of the organisation that is the Adeptus Arbites is quite simple. There is a commander of the Arbites known as the Grand Provost Marshal, representing the organisation in the Senatorium Imperialis and who oversees the organisation at the Hall of Judgment on Terra. Below him are the Marshals of the Court, which oversee specific precincts within the galaxy and each segmenter. Below them, the Arbites are divided into two groups: judges, dealing with legal matters and the Lex Imperialis, copying out the Book of Judgment for example, and arbitrators, who enforce the will of the Lex Imperialis and who apprehend and punish those who break the Emperor's laws. The Arbites maintain a presence on almost every Imperial world, usually based in a precinct courthouse. These are self-sufficient and can support a complete Arbites force for extended periods. They are also sometimes a world's only contact with the rest of the Imperium. Now, as to the personnel of the Adeptus Arbites, these men and women are usually devoted to their role and without mercy to those who break the law. They are usually recruited at a young age through the Scholar Progenium, which is the orphanage for children of Imperial officials, and are usually drawn from those who display great force of will and also brute strength. Now, the Arbites are equipped with enough gear to fight in a minor conflict or even a battle, but their role is to maintain order, of course, and so they very rarely do so. A single courthouse will function as a base for the Arbites, and is capable of fielding vehicles as well as the Arbites themselves. In combat, the Arbitrators also wear very heavy carapace armour, including gloves and boots. They also wear an all-enclosing helmet, which can be equipped with a rebreather in case of gas attack. The standard weaponry of an Arbites is a combat shotgun, a bolt gun, a grenade launcher, a suppression shield, or a power maul. They also use several different types of both lethal and incapacitating grenade. In some precincts, patrols will also use cybermastiffs to hunt down and catch fugitives, usually on hive worlds or jungle worlds where hiding is relatively easy. Now, to let you know, a cybermastiff is basically a cybernetic dog, although they will usually use the closest equivalent animal to a dog on that planet, be it a lizard-like creature or even an avian. They also use vehicles such as rhinos, repressors and chimeras. They can also use the Tarantula automated gun turret for crowd control, riot suppression and defending their precinct. Now, the Arbites also maintain a very small fleet of patrol craft and counter-insurgency vehicles, most notably the Punisher-class strike cruiser. Now, the Arbites fleet also operates logistical vessels, transports and other support craft, although all these vessels are technically part of the Imperial Navy and can be requisitioned by them if needed. So that's everything I wanted to mention today about the Arbites. One thing I will mention out of lore is that anyone who is looking at these pictures that I'm displaying can clearly see there is a link between the Arbites and some judges from some hellish world, maybe? Okay, yes, Judge Dredd. Yes, Judge Dredd is definitely an influence in these guys, and it actually was a rather large influence in the creation of Warhammer 40,000. If you've ever played Necromunda, you will definitely see the link there. Although, of course, they are very distinct legal entities now, at one time you could put these two next to one another and you would have Judge Dredd and the Arbites almost looking identical. So, there's a fun bit of side lore for you. So, that's everything I wanted to mention today. You can leave a comment in the comment section below. You can go to the Vox Relay where you can ask any questions of the vast community there. If you have anything to ask me directly, you can send me a personal message on YouTube. And other than that, I'm looking forward to finishing off the Imperium and finally moving on to something that people are anticipating and keep messaging me about, and it will get done. Honestly, probably not. No, it will get done. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching today. See you next time on the Vaults of Terra.